welcome back to my channel. So this week's video is going to be my top 8 books slash series for 2023. So these are my favorite, like, would reread them, would recommend them, absolutely loved them. All right, so we're gonna start off with number 8 and then we'll work our way up to number 1. So let's jump on in. All right, so number 8, we have Throne of Glass. I read this entire series this year and I absolutely loved it. 5-star series, 100%. I definitely have favorite books out of this series for sure. So my favorite out of the entire series is Queen of Shadows. I love Queen of Shadows, but the whole Throne of Glass series by Miss Sarah J. Maas is really, really great. I love the characters. If you don't know what Throne of Glass is about, and the quick gist is you are following your main character, Selena Sardathian. She is a world-renowned assassin, and she ends up getting put in a slave camp called Endovir, and then she ends up getting kind of taken out of the slave camp by Prince Dorian and the captain of his guard, Kael. Gets brought to Adorlan, where the king is, and he's having this competition to choose who's going to be the king's champion. And if she wins the competition against the other assassins and criminals, then she will be named the king's champion, and she'll be able to leave Endovir and kind of live a different life than she's been living. So this whole series, you're following her story, her journey. So many plot points, so many characters. And when I tell you you're going to fall in love with these characters, you will fall in love with these characters. I love these characters like none other. They're written so well. And I'm sad that the series is over, but it was really, really great. 5 stars. Queen of Shadows was definitely my favorite out of the entire series, just because of the plot points that happen in this book, but overall definitely a 5-star series, and number 8 on this list. All right, so for number 7 we have Yours Truly by Abby Jimenez. So with this book, you're following our main characters, Brianna and Jacob, and they both work at the same hospital, but they kind of get off on the wrong foot, and Jacob ends up writing, a letter to Brianna to kind of apologize, and they end up writing these cute little letters back and forth. Jacob has really bad anxiety, and they end up fake dating and kind of working through this weird relationship they have with each other, and it is genuinely so good. I absolutely love the anxiety rep in this book. I relate to Jacob immensely, and I absolutely love his and Brianna's relationship. I am 100% going to be rereading this book next year, and it's an interconnected standalone. So the first book is following Brianna's best friend, Alexis. I think it's called Part of Your World, and it's also really, really great, but this was just absolutely stunning, and I really, really enjoyed the writing and just the characters in this book. I really, really related to. So that is number 7. So for number 6, we have the Him Out Trilogy. So this is the third one, Things We Left Behind, which was my absolute favorite of the series. But the first one, Things We Never Got Over, was honestly just also chef's kiss. I love the series as a whole. The second one wasn't my favorite. I just don't like the tropes in that one. But essentially, the whole series, you're following 3 separate couples. So in the first book, you're following Knox and Naomi, and they are grumpy sunshine. And there's a whole mystery plot that kind of goes on throughout the 3 books, and obviously it finally gets resolved in this book. The second book, you follow Knox's brother Nash and Lena, and then in the third book you follow Knox and Nash's best friend Lucian, and Lena and Naomi's friend Sloane. So you get every single story in this book. You get updates from those first 2 couples, and they all have this really close-knit family. It's a small town, so you're just following these same characters throughout the whole all 3 books, and you just get really connected to the town, to the characters, to what's going on. And overall, it was just such a really good series and really, really well written. They are longer books, but honestly, it doesn't even feel like it. They are genuinely so fast paced. And like I said, I really enjoyed having that kind of mystery subplot throughout the 3 books because I feel like it just added a little something. This one, like I said, is definitely my favorite. It's following Lucian and Sloane, and they have like this really enemies to lovers thing going on. The quotes in this book were amazing. And again, I just absolutely adored it. For number 5, I only have the second book because my dad is currently borrowing the first one, but this is the Villains Duology by V.E. Schwab. In this duology, you are following Victor and Eli. They're both in college at the beginning. Victor is writing a thesis on the fight or flight response and how it affects you. And then Eli is doing his thesis on EOs, which are extraordinaries. They are essentially humans that have obviously extraordinary abilities. So they're both writing these separate theses, but they are friends. And then eventually they realize that their theses can kind of work together in a way, because of how Eli finds out about how EOs are kind of created. And then their whole thing goes from being strictly theoretical to being experimental, and they start working on kind of trying to create extraordinaries with their theories. And you're kind of going through that whole thing. And then you get kind of a superheroes versus supervillains, because of how Victor and Eli kind of separate, and then you get the inner workings of both their minds and how one of them thinks they're doing the right thing, but the other one's like, what are you doing? Like, you're literally not doing the right thing at all. And it's just really interesting to kind of see, what was happening through both of their lenses. Because obviously, seeing how they each react to the situation, and it's just very interesting, and I've never read a book like this before, and I definitely recommend checking out this duology. It is really, really good, really well written, and I just ended up really loving the characters. I definitely liked Vicious more than Vengeful, but they were both still really, really good, and I honestly do want to reread them next year as well. Up at number 4 is Manacled by Senlin Yu, which is a Hermione fanfic. I absolutely devoured this book this year. It was my longest book read, being a little over 1,300 pages according to Goodreads. And essentially with this, you are following Draco and Hermione, and it is, like I said, fan fiction, but it's kind of got like the Handmaid's Tale aspect of things. So this is a dark alternate universe where Voldemort has won the war, and the Order of the Phoenix members are pretty much dead, and there's like just a couple of like remaining people that kind of followed them, like they're women, or children, things like that were kind of part of, the Order, but not really like the main people like Harry, Ron, Hermione, all them. But Hermione ends up being captured, and she ends up being Draco's handmaid. And so you are essentially following. The book is broken up into 3 parts. There's the first part, the second part, which is flashbacks, and then the third part, which brings you back to present day. And you're just kind of getting, everything is in Hermione's POV, but you are getting her story about, what happened to the Order, and then her and Draco's story. So I do recommend checking the trigger warnings for this book, even though it was a really well written book and really well fleshed out. And I was absolutely astounded by how well it was written. It is definitely very, very dark. There is non-con, there is talk of SA, there is all these very brutal scenes to read about, people being offed. I guess that's one way we could put it. So there's a lot of stuff that happens in this book, and a lot of it is very dark, but it is because it is a dark alternate universe, again, where Voldemort wins the war. But overall, the story between Draco and Hermione was so insanely well done. And there's like 3 epilogues, and all 3 epilogues, I ate them up. ate them up, and I am gonna also reread that next year. It was just so good. I talked about this in like 14,000 videos of mine, so I am not going to keep talking about it here, but I definitely recommend checking it out if you like Harry Potter. I don't know if I would suggest starting out with Manacled, because like it is very dark, but I talk about a couple of other fan fiction books in my 24-hour reading video, so definitely go check that out. But I, again, absolutely loved it, and would definitely recommend if you have dipped your toe into fan fiction already. So coming in at number 3, we of course have Crescent City by Miss Sarah Janet, and I love this. Hunt and Bryce are like my all-time favorite couple, and I just loved the writing in this book. I think this is my favorite Sarah J. Maas series that I have read so far. I cannot wait for the 3rd book to come out. I am like so stoked. I'm going to be starting the reread actually of Earth and Blood this weekend to prep. My mom has already started her reread of the series, so we are getting ready for this. So if you don't know what Crescent City is, you are following your main character, Bryce, and she is, I don't even know how to really describe it. This book has a lot of information. So she is investigating the death of someone close to her, and she ends up finding out all this information about that person, which then leads her through this whole rabbit hole of the society that she grew up in. She learns all these secrets about herself, about the world in general, about the creators, and about the members of, I think they're called the Asteria. Pretty much like the 6 people that like rule their like universe or whatever. And so she's just kind of learning all this information, and she is on this journey with Hunt Athalar, who is a fallen angel who has pretty much been enslaved to the government to kind of work off his debts because he was part of, I think, like a rebellion movement. So that's kind of what you get in the 1st book. You're just getting a lot of info dumping. So I am going to warn you, this is very heavy on the info dumping. That is literally the #1 complaint of this book. But when I tell you that it is 100% worth it because the characters are amazing, Sarah knows how to write found family, and that is exactly what you get in this book, because you get, you know, Bryce and Hunt, and Bryce's, a couple of people from Bryce's family and friend group, and then, you know, you get Hunt and a couple, you know, some people from him, and they all kind of work together, and it is just really, really well written, and I love that they're so thick because I love these characters. And when I tell you the ending of this book literally made my jaw drop, it really, really did. And look at these covers. I mean, honestly, literally the most stunning covers of my life. So that was probably a really crappy explanation of these books, but it's been like a year since I've read them. I do recommend going in without reading the blurbs, because there's something on the blurb of this one that doesn't happen for like 100 pages into this book. And if I didn't read the blurb, I 100% would have been shocked by it. And we all know I like the shock factor. So just my suggestion. So coming in at number 2, we have the Emperion series by Rebecca Yarros, which so far is Fourth Wing and Iron Flame. I have the 1st edition of this one, the Waterstones edition, the 1st edition, and a signed edition of Iron Flame. I own like literally 3 copies. So you can say I love this series so much. So if you've been living under a rock and you have not heard what this series is about, you are essentially following Violet Sorrengail, and she has been training her whole life to be a scribe in the scribe quadrant, but her mother tells her 6 months before she's supposed to be going into the scribe quadrant, no, you're going into the writer's quadrant. And she has an illness where her body is pretty much extremely fragile, so that's why her father wanted her to be in the scribe quadrant, because she's super smart and she's been training her entire life for that. But I guess, you know, because her father passed away, and so her mom's kind of like, nope, you're going to be in the writers. And so she ends up going that route, and pretty much that's what this book is. You're getting her journey throughout the entire, her 1st year of being in the writer's quadrant. You meet a bunch of really great characters. There's dragons, and when I tell you, the dragons in this book are absolutely, utterly amazing, They are. The dragons in this book are just phenomenal, and you get like inner dialogue from the dragons, and it's just absolutely amazing. The love interest in this book is so good. Like I said, just so many good things about this book. I have filmed many videos about this book in particular because I read it twice this year. And then I just recently filmed the first reaction vlog to this, and I will be rereading both of these again next year as well. We have made it to the #1 book series of 2023. Now, if you've been a part of my channel, you may know. Leave your guesses down below if you think you know what my #1 book series is going to be, because I talk about it a lot. And that is, I only have the 5th book. I only own the 5th book. But that is Zodiac Academy, my friends, by Carolyn Peckham and Susan Valenti. I picked this book up because my friend Taylor suggested it. I did not think I was going to like it as much as I did. I literally flew through the first 4 books in, I think, 2 months. And when I tell you that 4th book wrecked my soul, I'm pretty sure that I still think about literally the 4th book in particular on a daily basis. But in general, I absolutely love this series. I have not finished it yet because my heart will not let me. I'm trying to read it slowly. My mom has finished it. Well, finished it as far as she can, because the last book's not out yet. And she keeps telling me that I need to finish it so we can talk about it. But I refuse to finish it because I already know my heart and my soul cannot take it. These characters are just like my family. I swear to God, I love them so, so much. And when I tell you, you're going to get so connected to these characters. I will warn you, it is considered a bully romance in the beginning. The first couple books are a little bit rough with the bully romance, but it's all worth it, okay? It is all worth it. It is worth having your soul crushed and ripped out because the writing is phenomenal. It is hilarious. Some of the things that are written in this book are just so funny. So seeing as I have not told you what this book series is about, let me just do that really quick. So you are following our 2 main characters, Tori and Darcy. They are twins. They are found in the human realm when they are 18 by Orion. Orion then brings them over to Solaria because they are the long lost queens of Solaria. I mean, hello. So then they are at Zodiac Academy and they meet the 4 celestial heirs, hence the bullies. And the 4 celestial heirs, essentially, their parents took over when Tori and Darcy's parents were murdered. And so the celestial council ended up taking over, and they've trained their sons to take over for them when they no longer are able to be in power. So now it is essentially a power struggle between the 4 celestial heirs and Tori and Darcy. And it's like a whole divide in the school about who supports who. And it's, you know, just a whole story about Tori and Darcy versus the celestial heirs. And it's amazing. Just absolutely amazing. I cannot recommend this series enough. I recommend it to literally everybody. I could talk about this book series for hours, honestly. I think there's like 9 books. There's going to be 9 books total. There was a novella that was just released. I'm pretty sure the novella is like 600 pages though. It's like, I don't know if they ever learned what a novella was, but 600 pages is pretty long for novella. But that's the last book that was just released. I don't know when the next book is going to be released. I think mid next year. So I do plan on picking up, I'm on book 7. So I do plan on picking that up very soon, but I just love it. Every book, 5 stars. I don't think I've rated a single book in the series not 5 stars, except for the first one I rated a 4.5. But other than that, they're absolutely amazing. Definitely check out the Zodiac Academy series. Alright guys, so that is going to wrap up this video. I hope you enjoyed. Like I said, these are my top 8 books or book series of 2023. And I'm pretty sure I said I would reread every single one of them. So next year's going to be fun. Let me know down below, what was your favorite book of 2023? And let me know if you've read any of the books I read. I'd definitely love to chat about them down in the comments below. But as always, definitely keep the comment section spoiler free. If you want to talk spoilers, feel free to head over to my Instagram. Same username is here. And I'd be happy to chat about anything over there. But as always, please like, comment, and subscribe. And I will check you guys all in the next video.